Lately, we've been discussing the words of Isaiah one paragraph at a time, but today I'm going to speak about a single verse, one I feel is one of the most important in all of Isaiah. It's chapter 11, verse 1. This is what it says in the King James Version. "And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots." The Book of Mormon version is identical, with one exception. The word branch is not capitalized. We'll discuss that more in a minute. Fortunately, the Lord clarified some of this for us. He said the stem of Jesse is himself, Jesus Christ. But the word stem is probably not the most helpful. This is actually a stump of a tree that has been cut down. The Lord said the rod that comes out of this stump will be a servant in the hands of Christ, who is partly a descendant of Jesse, as well as of Ephraim, or of the house of Joseph, on whom there is laid much power. In other words, this rod coming out of the stump is a man who is partly of Jewish descent and partly from Ephraim. And fortunately, we get more clarification later in the Doctrine and Covenants. It says, "What is the root of Jesse spoken of in the 10th verse of the 11th chapter? Behold, thus saith the Lord, it is a descendant of Jesse, as well as of Joseph, unto whom rightly belongs the priesthood, and the keys of the kingdom for an ensign, and for the gathering of my people in the last days." Again, the King James and the Book of Mormon versions are essentially the same. So far we have a stem, or the stump of a tree, which is Christ. We have a rod coming out of that stump, which is a servant of Christ with much power. And we have a root, 9 verses later, who holds the keys of the priesthood by right, and will be raised up as an ensign for the gathering of Israel. Now, let's look at 2 other translations. "A shoot will spring up from the stalk of Jesse, and a branch from its graft bear fruit." That's from Gileadi's translation. There we learn that the rod is actually a shoot, or more precisely, a water sprout coming out of the stump. And we learn that a branch will be grafted onto this shoot, and that branch will bear fruit. Here's another translation, one that may take a little more license. "The royal line of David is like a tree that has been cut down, but just as new branches sprout from a stump, so a new king will arise from among David's descendants." That's from the Good News translation. The Lord himself has commanded us to search these things diligently, so we should always try to find the meanings of Isaiah's words, even seeing how others translate them. Now, by putting all this together, a picture begins to emerge. From Christ, or from Christianity, which was cut down by apostasy, a new shoot will come forth, a water sprout, and on this shoot a new branch will be grafted, and this new branch will bear the fruit of Zion. Many people think this branch is also Christ, but remember, in the Book of Mormon, branch is not capitalized. He's a man, not a god. And like the rod or water sprout, he too is a servant in the hands of Christ. And as we read on about this branch, it appears that he's identical to the ensign in verse 10, who's raised up to gather Israel in the last days. So let me take some license of my own here and share who I think these 2 people are. I believe the rod, or water sprout, was Joseph Smith, the prophet who restored Christianity in its fullness on the earth. And I believe the root of Jesse is this branch, or ensign, who will be grafted onto Joseph's work of restoration and eventually bear the fruit of Zion. This man, this branch, will be a natural branch of the tree. He'll have the priesthood and the keys of the kingdom by right. In the last days, his work will be grafted onto Joseph's unfinished work, and he'll not only gather scattered Israel, and will not only be a light to the Gentiles, he'll also direct the building up of Zion, and, as we'll see next time, he'll lead those in Zion into the millennium. I love Isaiah 11:1 because in one short sentence, 21 words, Isaiah depicts the work of Joseph Smith in restoring Christ's gospel, and he introduces the work of a Latter-day Ensign who will complete this work and lead the righteous into Zion and into the millennium. Truly, Isaiah's words are great. Next time, we'll learn more about this branch, this Latter-day Ensign, who will perform many miracles in the last days. I'm Curtis Taylor with the Words of Isaiah.